Hello, and welcome to Auto Be Careful, the place for car safety, news, and information. I'm Gene, and today we're looking into glare from headlights and why it's such a big problem in the United States. Glare from headlights affecting other drivers is one of the biggest issues with headlights in the United States. This comes from three main sources: how high the headlights are mounted on a vehicle, how the headlights are aimed on the vehicle, and high beams being engaged when they shouldn't be. For many years, it was difficult for a driver to protect themselves from the glare of other headlights, but thanks to updates in technology, there are finally some steps being taken to prevent this issue from occurring. Unfortunately, there are also some hurdles to overcome, which we'll discuss later. The first issue is how high headlights are mounted off the ground. If you've ever been in a sedan or sports car around SUVs or trucks, you know it doesn't take much to be overwhelmed by the headlights on those vehicles. They don't even have to turn on their high beams in order to be visually impairing. The issue here is how high the headlights are mounted from the ground. The federal motor vehicle safety standards require that headlights be mounted at least 22 inches off the ground, but not more than 54 inches off the ground. That means that headlights can be mounted 4.5 feet off the ground, which is almost 7 inches higher than what's allowed in Europe. Another issue with this regulation is that the headlight height is actually measured to the center of the headlight. This is a problem because if you have a 2-inch headlight, the top of the headlight would actually be 55 inches from the ground. But if you have a 5-inch headlight, the top of the headlight would be 56.5 inches off the ground. This is an issue because even though there is a headlight maximum height set for motor vehicles, it doesn't mean that the top of the headlight is actually going to meet that requirement. So this is pretty easy to get around for any motor vehicle. Another issue with this regulation is that it has not been updated since 1968 when it was first implemented, even though headlight technology has advanced tremendously and headlights have gotten so much brighter in the last 50 years. In 2022, the NHTSA did update some regulations with regards to headlights, which we'll discuss later, although they left the height requirements unchanged. The good news is these rules can be changed at any time, although they require a lengthy discussion and comment process, so it could be a long time before these are updated if they ever are. The next issue is headlights not being aimed properly. When a vehicle is brand new, it comes from the factory with all components properly adjusted. As it ages, different components will wear out and cause things to become misaligned. This can cause headlights to point too high, too low, or even in different directions. It can be easy to adjust your headlights if they're out of alignment. First, check your vehicle's aiming specifications and also reference your local rules and regulations. Once you have all this information, ensure everything is unloaded from your vehicle. Check that your tire pressure meets the manufacturer's guidelines, and find a level location with a wall to point your headlights. Once here, tape the wall with where your headlights should be aimed and adjust the screws as needed. If you're unsure, it's best to take your vehicle to a professional. Despite the fact that headlights can become misaligned over time, it's actually pretty uncommon for this to be checked on a regular basis. Headlight alignment isn't typically done as part of routine maintenance by a mechanic, nor is it checked during a vehicle's annual inspection, which typically focuses solely on emissions. Some states have a procedure for checking vehicle safety systems, such as headlight aim, but only require these in special circumstances, such as when a salvaged vehicle has been repaired and needs approval to be returned to regular use. As of this video, there are no US regulations that require these systems be checked on a regular basis, although this may change in the future. Let's talk about vehicles being driven with their high beams on. For decades, if someone was driving late at night, they would need to control their high beams and low beams using a switch that was manually operated inside the vehicle. That meant the driver would need to balance great visibility for themselves at long distances with reducing glare for other drivers. Recently, regulations have started to require that vehicles are manufactured with automated high and low beam switching. This system will switch to high beams when the roads are dark and switch back to low beams when another driver is detected. Most new vehicles sold today offer this system, which is wonderful because it takes the burden off the driver. But there is a better system that's available, and people in the US aren't allowed to use it: adaptive matrix headlights. These headlights are capable of being much more precise, allowing high beams to remain on while reducing glare for other drivers. These headlights work similar to the way a flat screen television would work. The headlights are composed of many smaller lights, each individually capable of switching between high beam and low beam. This allows the high beams to remain on while switching only a portion of the headlight to low beam. This technology uses the latest systems for detecting nearby vehicles, similar to those used in automated driver assist systems. With these systems together, vehicles can keep high beams enabled while tracking nearby cars and aiming low beams in those areas. This allows greater visibility without impairing the vision of other drivers. Unfortunately, the rules and regulations in the United States prohibit the use of these features using today's technology. Even though manufacturers have started to include the hardware required for these features in their cars, they're only available to users outside the US, like those in Europe. Even with the updated rules from the NHTSA in 2022, automakers can only use this technology in limited ways, such as an entertaining light show like the one available on this Mercedes Benz. The good news is, while this technology is currently prohibited in the US for high beams, auto manufacturers have found some creative ways to use this technology in other features. For example, some vehicles will detect when a vehicle is going around a curvy road in dark conditions and enable additional lighting to help illuminate the road and assist drivers in seeing better. So, while regulations today prevent drivers from getting the greatest benefits of this technology, there are still some other ways this technology can be helpful until regulations are able to catch up. So, that's a look at some of the issues surrounding headlights and a few ideas to solve those problems. Lighting technology has come a long way in the past few decades, and hopefully, we will be able to take advantage of this technology once regulations are able to catch up and make our roads and lives safer. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and remember to click like and subscribe.